I think what we oftentimes forget as, crypto and DeFi investors is the entire crypto space. The market cap is, just over 2 trillion as of this recording. Apple, one company, is around 3.5 trillion. That's the market cap of Apple. Not quite, but just to make it simple, pretty much double all of crypto. And that is one company. We are not separate from everything else going on in the world. David talks about that a lot. He looks at a lot of equity markets. He looks at the S&P. He looks at what is going on in the world, in other markets, and understanding that crypto is a very small piece, of the whole. And we're not separate from it. And I think a lot of times in crypto, we're like, yeah, everything follows Bitcoin. Typically, for the most part, true. Of course, there's different cycles and Bitcoin sells off into alts, and we all know that. But the question we should be asking is, what does Bitcoin follow? And I think it's worth just having your eye or finger on what is happening globally. We're not separate from it. In fact, we're still very correlated. Now, I do see a future where potentially there's a little less correlation, but at the end of the day, if people don't have liquidity, if they don't have cash, or if they need cash and the markets are suffering, then crypto suffers for it. And all I'm trying to bring light on, and again, check out the Friday end of week reports because we have this conversation all of the time. Here is what's happening on a global scale. Here's what's happening in, North America. And by doing so, we just get a bit of a zoomed out picture of what is happening, and we can make some educated decisions on how we are going to play the crypto DeFi game. Is now a good time to create hedged positions? Should we go long? Which, by the way, of course, you can yield farm and do DeFi in, both shorting, both longing, depending on how you borrow, what you borrow, how you move it. Or maybe you don't play any of that and it's just like, oh, I have a bunch of capital I'm ready to deploy. How do you want to play that? When do you take profit? And looking at just Bitcoin or just crypto is just one small lens. We want as many data points. We want to have a holistic view of the markets so we can make decisions based on that. So again, probably something you already know, but I want to remind you of it. Check out maybe 3 or 4 weeks of end of week reports. You'll find them in the UIG under the DeFi guides and reports section. Read those reports. Watch the 10-minute video that comes with each report and get used to having that conversation. Get used to viewing the markets from that zoomed out of an approach. What are events that are coming down the pipeline? What are events that can sway the markets? What's already priced into the markets? What could happen? Of course, we can't predict black swan events, but just understand that we're not separate from it. So keeping your finger on the pulse, whether you're doing the research yourself or you're just leveraging all the research done by the UIG so you can save yourself a few hours, it's super important. And I don't want you losing sight of that. Again, oftentimes as crypto DeFi investors, we can just zoom in on our asset and the chart of, Bitcoin or ETH and trying to blow the candles up or down. And I'm like, that candle it's so correlated to other things that are happening globally that it's almost kind of foolish to be looking at just ETH or even just Bitcoin or even just crypto. So reminder for you, if you want to get a little bit more educated on that or get used to that, check out a couple of the end of week reports, read through them, get used to having that conversation. And with that said, we will see you there.